Good morning, everyone. Let's wait for a minute for others to join. Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome to today's webinar. I'm so glad you've joined us. And today we are talking about a topic that sounds simple, but is where a lot of revenue quietly gets lost. So what happens after someone registers for your webinar is a big question, and let's find some answers for it today. So before we begin, let me ask you something. Give a thumbs up emoji if you've ever hosted a webinar, got excited about the registrations, and then watched 90% of those leads just disappear. No follow-ups, no pipeline entries, just a list of emails sitting on the spreadsheet. All right, I could see a few thumbs up. So if that sounds familiar, then you're exactly in the right place today. And this session has been crafted just for you. So before we start, can you hear me clearly and see the screen? Please confirm over the Q&A, or you can also react by giving a thumbs up or thumbs down emojis. All right, thanks for the confirmation. So let me introduce myself. I'm Anisha. I bring over 12 years of experience specializing in webinar and online collaboration tools. I'm excited to share my expertise with you today and help you get the most out of Zoho Webinar. So before we start with the integrations and stuff, please let me know how many of you are already using webinars for your lead generation. You will get a quick poll on your screen. Just let us know your thoughts about it. All right, so let's get started. We will take a quick look at what we will cover today. Let's start with the core challenge, then move through the 5 integrations: Zoho CRM, Zoho Campaigns, HubSpot, Zapier, and Zoho Flow. After that, we will connect everything in one end-to-end pipeline and finish with some quick wins you can implement this week. This slide sets the stage for everything we are about to explore today. Most of us are losing leads not because our content is bad, but because the workflow stops the moment the webinar ends. So you spend hours crafting the perfect presentation, you promote it, people show up, and then there is a silence. That broken handoff between your webinar platform and your CRM or your marketing tools, your sales team, that's where leads go to die. So now whether the exact number in your organization, like I mentioned, can be 90% or 60% or 30%, the pattern is familiar. People register, attendance data sits on one platform, and the sales team lives on another platform. Your email nurturing happens somewhere else, and nobody has a complete picture about it, right? So that's what usually goes wrong. Registrants become a spreadsheet instead of a pipeline, and there is no automatic CRM entry when someone signs up for your webinar, and your sales team has no visibility into who attended the webinar, who was engaged throughout the webinar. And the no-shows will get the same follow-up email, similar to the people who stayed in your webinar for more than 40 minutes. And the lead data stays trapped inside the webinar platform instead of flowing into the rest of your stack. And that's the real issue we are talking about. Your webinars generate some intent, and if that intent fades quickly, and if your systems don't react fast, then the hottest leads cool off before your team even notices about it. Now, today, we are going to show you exactly how to fix that using Zoho Webinar's integration ecosystem that we've built, and we've built a pipeline that fills itself. Now we are talking about real automations here and step-by-step flow, which you can implement this week. So our goal of this session is you leave with a blueprint, not just some ideas. You should be able to picture how a registrant goes from sign up to follow up to sales action automatically. And by this end of the session, you will have a 45-minute blueprint for 5 things: auto capturing leads into CRM, triggering email journeys for attendees and no-shows separately, syncing attendance data into your HubSpot CRM, connecting to thousands of applications through the Zapier integration we have, and building conditional multi-step flows with Zoho Flow. So this is not just about an integration in a technical sense, but it's about making your webinar program operationally smarter, so every registrant enters your system and you know what to do next. So this slide sums it up in one phrase: from sign up to a closed deal. So here we have created an example flow. So you can adjust the flow according to your stack or according to your business needs. Definitely, a webinar is not the end of a campaign. It is actually a trigger point in a larger journey. So as you can see in this flow, once someone registers, your system should begin working immediately. It should create records of that person, launch email sequences, watch the attendance details, update the lifecycle stages in your CRM, and then alert the right teams accordingly. Now, think of a webinar like an airport hub. People arrive from different channels, but if the connections are designed well, each person gets routed to the right destination without any chaos. So that's what an autopilot pipeline does. Now let's look at the first integration, Zoho Webinar with Zoho CRM. Now the promise here is simple. Every registrant becomes a tracked lead automatically. And there are 4 major value points you can see in the slide. The registration creates a new lead or contact in Zoho CRM the moment someone signs up. And after that, the attendance data syncs once the webinar is over, and it should tell whether that particular registrant or the lead has attended the webinar, or it has to mark the no-show and along with the duration. And after that, the follow-up task can be created and assigned based on the attendance behavior. So within your Zoho CRM itself, you will get all the webinar reports. That includes the poll details, the question and answers, recordings of the webinar, and you can find all these details in your webinar details page on your Zoho CRM itself. Now, why is this powerful? Because it removes the lag between the marketing activity and the sales action. So your CRM stops being a passive database and becomes a live record of your webinar intent. Someone register, it means they are interested. And if they attend, this means they are more interested. And if they stay for 30 minutes or more, they are signaling serious intent about your content. So your CRM should reflect those differences automatically. Now imagine your sales rep logs in Monday morning and opens the CRM, and they see a queue of leads labeled as attended webinar or interested in the product, with the task already assigned for them. That is to follow up immediately and to convert them into the customers. So let's take a quick look, like how the registration auto creates the CRM lead in your Zoho CRM. So let me play a quick video. So you can create your webinar from your campaigns module in your Zoho CRM account. And then you can just share the registration link with the targeted audience. And then when someone register using that link, you can find them automatically added as a lead in your Zoho CRM account. Now, when you go to your CRM, you can see the webinar, and you can find the leads count added. And you can also see the lead source. All right. So now we've covered the CRM capture. Think about what happens before and after the live event. Capturing a lead is great, but conversion depends heavily on how we nurture them. That sets up the next section, which is the campaigns integration with Zoho CRM. And this is where the nurturing gets automated. And on the left side, you've got the pre-webinar sequence. So whenever the webinar is scheduled, we'll be sending multiple pre-webinar follow-ups emails, such as we send the confirmation email immediately someone register. These are all just a few examples, and all these can be customized and configured according to your business needs or according to the content that you're presenting during your webinar. So you can send agenda and teaser 3 days before the event, and then you can send a see you tomorrow reminder a day before the webinar, and even another reminder before an hour of the webinar. So all these can be customized before the webinar. And this is important because registration alone does not guarantee the attendance. Reminder emails drives the show up rates. So a good webinar don't just collect names, but we need to build the anticipation for the webinar. Now on the right side, you can find some of the post-webinar journey, and attendees get a thank you email along with, if you can send some highlights about the event or some summary, the key takeaways, along with the demo CTA, that would be very helpful for the attendees. And then you can't send the same email to the no-shows. So for the no-shows, maybe you can add the replay link, the recording link, and what they've missed in the session, you can add those. And if someone attended more than 30 plus minutes, or if they are more interested, you can mark them as hot leads, and the sales team can outreach them differently from their perspective. And that's a major upgrade we see in this integration. So instead of one generic thanks for joining email to everyone, you can tailor these follow-up emails according to the actual behavior of the attendees. So now these are the features or the capabilities which you can achieve using Zoho Webinar and the Zoho Campaigns integrations. And when we talk about sending different emails, think about two registrants. One watches 40 minutes, downloads the resources and asks for a question, and the other person never joins. So if they receive the same follow-up, then your automation is ignoring the intent of it. So the opportunity in webinar marketing is not just sending messages faster, but it's sending the right message faster. So here you can keep different contact management lists in your campaigns according to the behavior of the attendees, and you can engage these leads, like sending them your monthly newsletters. You can follow up with them with the upcoming webinar updates and all these stuff. So these are a few ways you can nurture the leads in Zoho Webinar and Campaigns integration. Now let's take a quick look at this integration. So let me play a video. So provide a name for your campaign, select the webinar, and you can enter all these details. So we have a number of templates. So you can select the template according to the content that you're sending, and you can include the recipient details to trigger different emails from your Zoho campaigns. And when someone register, you can automatically find the contact detail added in your Zoho campaign. Just have to go to contacts and you can find the registrant detail over here. All right. So now we move into HubSpot integration, and this is about connecting the webinar engagement or the webinar details to your HubSpot pipeline. And we have listed the 4 major points here, which are the contact sync, where registrants are automatically created in your HubSpot CRM with a webinar source tag. Then we can update the deal stage. People who've attended can move to qualified leads, and while no shows still stays in nurture. And then you can also work on the workflow triggers, like you can enroll contacts into sequences, assign representatives, and also update the lifecycle stages within your HubSpot CRM. And you can also trace the closed deals back to the webinar session in the HubSpot. So one of the biggest question in webinar marketing is, did the webinar actually contribute to the pipeline? So that's why the last point about the pipeline reporting is important. And this integration helps answer that by connecting the webinar activity to downstream CRM and also thereby revenue reporting as well. So webinars should not be measured only by the registrations and attendance. They should be measured by what they create in the pipeline as well. So that data will stream through all these stages in your HubSpot CRM. Now, here are the data that flows into your HubSpot. So to list a few, we have the webinar registration. You can add it into your contacts. We have the webinar attendees, recording transcript, summary. We have the chat transcript going into the notes. You can also add the webinar details into the meetings field, webinar information or the summary in your pipeline, and then the fields and the activity along with the attendee activity. So all these can be added in the contact properties or the timeline. So let's take a quick look at how this integration works and some of its features now.
Within HubSpot? With Zoho Webinar integrated directly into HubSpot, all of your webinar data stays organized, synced, and in one place. Here's how it works. Start by logging into your Zoho Webinar account. Go to the Settings, click on the Integrations tab, then select Apps and choose HubSpot for Webinar. Click Configure to begin the integration. Then sign into or create your HubSpot account and choose an account. To begin connecting your webinar platform, click the Connect App button to start the authorization process. After configuration, navigate to your HubSpot settings, then go to Integrations and Connected Apps. Select Zoho Webinar, click on App Cards, and choose Customized App Card for your webinars. Next, click Manage Location. Choose the default view and customize it by using Existing on the Zoho Webinar tab and adding the card. Use the card library to include all relevant cards, then save and exit. This ensures your webinar view is properly added to the app card for easy access. You can now create and schedule webinars directly from HubSpot using the app card feature. Need to tailor your registration forms? Click on View More and you'll be redirected to the Zoho Webinar Setup page. Go to Integration and add custom fields. Every registrant becomes a HubSpot contact and their data syncs automatically. When the webinar ends, all the information is pushed into the organizer's contact. The webinar summary appears under Activities, and chats, recordings, and transcripts are saved in Notes. All webinar meetings are tracked under Meetings, giving you a complete, organized view of every event. Ready to simplify your webinar workflow? Set up your integration today.
All right. So this integration can preserve the context, such as your attendance, content, activity, and all the webinar engagement signals inside the system where your revenue team already there. So that's how the HubSpot and Zoho Webinar integration works. So now let's move on to the Zapier integration with Zoho Webinar. And Zapier integration can expand your integration level beyond your core stack. Like it got 6,000 plus apps integrated along with your webinar platform. And this slide positions Zapier as the bridge to connect 6,000 plus apps with Zoho Webinar. So we have listed a few examples in the table which are practical. So once someone register for the webinar, you can just add them in your Google Sheets. Or if you want to get an instant notification whenever someone register in your Slack, you can integrate the registration along with your Slack to get any alerts for your sales team. And if you want to move the details about the attendees to your Facebook ads for any retargeting, you can do that. And no show to active campaign for further nurture sequences. So this is where the audience starts seeing the flexibility. Say, like not every team has the exact same GTM stack, but Zapier lets the webinar platform trigger these actions across a broader ecosystem. So whichever applications that you use, you can use the integration of Zoho Webinar and Zapier to connect with those apps directly without providing any codes. Okay, so if Zoho CRM and Campaigns organize your own workflow, then Zapier lets you plug webinars into the rest of your marketing and the sales universe. So now let's quickly take a look at the Zapier video and how the Zap and triggers and actions works.
Introducing the Zoho Webinar integration with Zapier, a powerful automation tool that automates your workflow and unlocks infinite possibilities. Notify registrants using Slack the moment your webinar begins. New registrants in webinar? Instantly add them as a new lead in CRM such as Salesforce or Zoho CRM and automate your workflow. Auto-upload your recordings to YouTube the moment your webinar ends. Also, instantly update your Notion with webinar summary and next steps. Your data is synced across platforms automatically. Getting started is simple. Kickstart your Zap, choose a trigger, automate your action. Create a Zap today and connect Zoho Webinar with thousands of apps.
All right. I hope that was useful. We have another video where we show how exactly a Zap can be created in your Slack to get instant webinar alerts. So just turn on the Zap once created, and we will try to register and check out the instant alert in the. That's it. The registration is done. And here you can find the alert that a new registrant has been added to the webinar. All right. So a quick poll. Please share your thoughts. Which application outside your webinar platform do you think instantly react when someone register or attended your webinar? So you will get the poll question. Please cast your poll. Share your thoughts. All right. Thank you for your participation. So before we move on to the Zoho Flow integration, um, we have a dedicated panelist waiting for answering your questions in the Q&A. So please use the Q&A option to send any questions you have, any doubts you may have about any of the integrations that we are explaining today or we are showing today. So just use the Q&A option to share your thoughts, to ask any questions, and we will be happy to assist you immediately. All right, so now let's move on to Zoho Flow integration. So as you saw in the video, Zapier is great when you want the breadth about it. So, but sometimes you need deeper logic. For example, if this happened, do this thing. If that happened, do something else. That's what is called the conditional branching, and that's where Zoho Flow comes in. And this slide shows multi-step automation with some conditional branching, like one trigger, do these actions according to that particular trigger. So as soon as the webinar ends, so here we have just shown an example of how you can create a conditional branching. So this again can be customized according to your needs. So here when someone end the webinar, after the webinar is over, check whether the attendee watched 30 plus minutes. If yes, tag as a hot lead in CRM or create a follow-up task or send a personalized email. And if there is no show, then send the person into a replay plus a nurture path. So one action, one trigger, and that will create the multiple conditional actions. So that can be done using Zoho Flow. And let me show you a quick video on how you can create these branches. So you can use Zoho Flow according to the decision that you are taking after the webinar and to help the system react differently based on what actually happened in the webinar. So here you can add the duration from the webinar reports and then create conditions according to your choice. All right, so that's it. So we've created a conditional workflow, a conditional branching using the Zoho Webinar and the Zoho Flow integration. Similarly, you can create multiple workflows according to your webinar or the business needs. All right. So far we've looked at each integration separately. Now let's zoom out and look at the full machine working together. And this slide is the payoff. Like it maps the old journey here. When someone register for the webinar, the CRM lead is created, and email sequence is started. And then once the webinar is happened, then the details should get synced in your HubSpot, or however you want to use the attendance details. You can use the Zapier connector to take them to any ads that you have. You can take them to you follow your YouTube channels if you have. You can show them some LinkedIn ads. So you can use Zapier to connect the details or sync the webinar attendance after the webinar is over. And then if you want to send any customized conditional branching, you can use the Zoho Flow integration, and thereby we are closing the deal. So no manual work, every lead is tracked and every follow-up is sent, and your pipeline grows on autopilot. And the real win is not using more tools actually. The real win is creating a connected system where every stage hands off to the next without any friction about it. So like I said before, your webinar should not end when the session ends. That's actually when your revenue workflow begins. Okay. Now let's make this actionable with 5 quick wins to start this week. So here we have listed a few. Like you can start by connecting your Zoho webinar in your Zoho CRM. And then you can build a pre-webinar and also the post-webinar sequence in your Zoho Campaigns. And set up a Slack, Zap, and Zapier so that the sales team will get notified whenever someone registers. Build a basic attended versus no-show flow in your Zoho Flow. And then you can also, once the webinar is over, enable the HubSpot connector and tag your attendees to your pipeline. All right, time for a quick poll. Let us know which of these 5 integrations you implement first. So you can see the question and multiple choices in your screen. Please let us know your thoughts about it. All right, thank you for your polls. And then we could talk about these integrations, but nothing speaks louder than the voices of people who actually used Zoho Webinar platform. And here we have highlighted few of our customers who are currently using Zoho Webinar, and some of their ROI is shared. So as you can see, 40 hours saved on onboarding for Amazon, and we've seen 30% increase in webinar registration for Tabo Consulting. And McDonald's is our customer, and they've mentioned that 150% of productivity is increased using Zoho Webinar in their franchisee recruitment. And we have one of our technologies, Adro IT, using 2 lakh plus students trained online every week using Zoho Webinar. And let's hear from 2 of our customers. The first story is from the national franchising recruiter of McDonald's. Then we have a story by Amazon. So McDonald's is using Zoho Webinar for their franchising recruitment, and Amazon is using for their onboarding process. All right, let's see what's in the pipeline for Zoho Webinar this year. So we are coming up with payment gateway integration, which is integrating payment platforms in Zoho Webinar so that the webinar organizers can collect a nominal fee for webinars. Like you can conduct paid webinars and you can just promote your paid webinars. Attendees can make a payment to attend or watch your webinar. And we're also coming up with workflows, which will be released in a few weeks. So that will allow you to write any custom function according to your webinar, and then you can integrate your webinar platform with any applications using these workflows. We're also coming up with screen sharing with audio. So directly when sharing the screen, if there is any audio file, you can share it along with your screen. And we're also adding handouts in the upcoming releases. So before the webinar, after the webinar, in case if you want to include any handouts to your participants, attendees, you can add that. We're also coming up with AI writing assistant to make your content journey smoother. So you just have to enter the keyword and automatically the AI writing assistant will help you write topics for your webinar, add agenda, add descriptions for the webinar. So using the AI. So these are something that we have in our immediate pipeline, and you can see them releasing in the next few weeks. So before you go, I have one small request. We would love your feedback on today's session. You will see a quick survey question on your screen. Please rate us on a scale of 1 to 5. Your feedback helps us make a future webinar better, more relevant, and more valuable to you. All right. Thank you for your participation. And I hope we've covered a lot today. And I also hope you're leaving with both inspiration and some practical knowledge about it. So if you have any question about any of the feature or integration we've mentioned today, please use the Q&A tab to ask the questions, and we will immediately reply to them. Also, if you wonder, Zoho Webinar is compatible with your existing platform or applications. If you are curious about pricing, if you have any plans, if you need to know more about any data security, please reach to us using the Q&A, and we are open to answer. So we have a dedicated panel members, and we are ready to answer as many as, the questions you ask. And in the meantime, I also have a few frequently asked questions, which I've added here. So I'll just read through it. So what's the best first integration for a small team? Yes, you can start with your CRM lead capturing and also with the basic email automation using campaigns, since those are created immediate visibility, and you can also see the follow-up structure. Do I need to use all 5 integrations? No. In this session, we've presented 5 integrations. But even if you use 1 or 2 connected systems, it will remove major manual gaps in your webinar workflows. What's the fastest win? The quick win suggestion is obviously the CRM and the Zapier trigger. Also, if you are a HubSpot user, you can also use the HubSpot connector, which will definitely save 10 to 15 minutes of your post-webinar activity. So if you need, we can also give you a personalized demo. So you can reach out to sales@zohocorp.com, and our team is ready to walk you through every feature, every integration, and answer every question. And they will help you get started with our platform. So before we wrap up, I want to invite you to be part of something bigger, like join our community, use the hashtag Zoho Webinar on LinkedIn, Facebook, X, and Instagram to share your experience and also your success stories. You can find us on all major platforms, and we would love to see you there. Right, and that brings us to the end of today's session. Thank you once again. Stay curious, try these integrations, and we will see you in the next session. Have a great day.